everyone, it is I, Majin. You may previously know me as LotusMaje. Today I am going to be doing a reading, highly requested reading from my viewers here on Aaron Pierre, as you can see in the thumbnail and in the title. So I'm assuming a lot of this is coming up just because there has been some recent rumblings in the jungle in regards to like his love life, mainly the relationship that he has with American known actress slash singer Teyana Taylor. She's multi hyphenated, really. I think she's like a director, she's a singer, she's an actor. I think she produces, she's a creative artist. Um, what else? I think she has something with like a clothing line. I think she's also a businesswoman. Like she's multi hyphenated. She's a very talented woman, very beautiful too. And so this is coming hot on the heels, after it seems like it's been coming hot on the heels, like soon after, the public at least was much informed about her recent divorce with her ex-husband, Iman Shumpert, which I did do a reading on that, and you can see it up here at the iCard. I'll link it for you. I did do a reading on them as well. And so now these two are Aaron Pierre and Teyana Taylor are rumored to be lovers. I can't even say it's rumored anymore because we pretty much have seen a lot of evidence that they are pretty much a thing. I don't know if it's serious or not, so we'll see in this reading if it is. But, we have been getting a lot of rumblings about them being an item for quite some time now, and that he has been one of the main inspirations and reasons behind her recently released artistic album. I forget the name of it. But she recently came out with a couple of things to kind of just like basically you can say like working through and purging through her emotions of her going through her divorce with Iman Shumpert. So I'm doing this reading today. It's mainly focusing on Aaron Pierre, but more than likely we are also going to get into the mess with, I say get into the mess. We don't know if it's really mess, but we are going to get into the whole thing around him and Teyana Taylor's relationship. I'm definitely going to add that in the reading. But as you also know, I'm speaking a lot about Teyana Taylor because I'm more familiar with her. Some of you obviously are more familiar with Aaron Pierre, or maybe you're not. That's probably why you requested this reading. But he is a British actor, I believe. I know he has blown up on the heels of being the voice, I want to say, for Mufasa, because I want to say Scar, because he looks like he would be the voice for Scar, but he's the voice for Mufasa in Disney's live remake of The Lion King, and he did something called "Is Something Ridge." I watched the movie; it was good. He did something like is it Battle Ridge or something like that. He blew up on the back of that, and just people have been drawn to his looks, and they very much feel like he's gonna be like the next Idris Elba. And so a lot of people have a lot of high hopes for him right now. He has been really big and, again, influential behind Teyana Taylor's recent success with her album and her coming back to music. I didn't think that was going to happen for her for a minute because she was so turned off by it due to her being burned by the industry and Kanye and all of that. But again, I'm going to try to not make this too much about Teyana because I'm more familiar with her. So I apologize, but that's my point of reference for all the things that I know about Aaron Pierre. So, with that being said, now I've given a little backstory into the inspiration behind this reading. Please note that this is an intuitive reading. I am big on intuitive readings. I just don't simply read the cards unless I'm just like not channeling anything at all. I typically try to go in with my intuition and give you as honest of a reading as I possibly can. I'm not trying to just make up stuff or what I get. So I try to go into these very blind. So that's why when you usually see me do my intros, I try to keep it very short and I don't give a lot of information because I don't have a lot of information. And I purposely do that so I'm not, unconsciously or subconsciously just being influenced by the stuff that I read. So I try to be very blind and impartial in my readings because I am human, so I can be partial. That is what it is. So long as you have that in mind, just keep in mind, as I often try to remind you, I am like, think of me as an intuitive interpreter or a spiritual interpreter. You know, oftentimes interpreters, there's no one-on-one translation. You're not able to get everything over. That's why it's the saying of things lost in translation. Um, I just try to give you what I'm channeling, what I'm getting, what I've been sent, and I'm trying to interpret it to you all as best as I can. So if you are okay with that, and keeping in mind that I am fallible, that you need to utilize your power of discernment, that I can be wrong, we will move forward. And I will also point out, again, for you all to be mindful, as you can see scrolling along the screen here at the bottom, all statements made are for entertainment purposes only. Okay? Good? All right. So, I wonder if I should take my gum out my mouth because I might be smacking you in your ear like a cow. I think I should. I think I should move my gum because I'm very much going to be smacking in your ear. I already know it. Especially when I'm like thinking, it's going to happen. So, I probably should have did this off screen, but as you can see, some of my cards are flipped over. So, I just make sure I cleanse them. I usually don't get them all in order. I just make sure I cleanse them because that is more important to me than them all facing the same way before I start reading. Oh, and just to point out, I'm putting myself on Front Street here because more than likely you're going to see it. So do not be alarmed if you see my fingers here. They're darker in color than these here. I have been doing a bit of foraging for black walnuts. If you have been paying attention to my sister's channel as well, you notice I'm like, shout out to Ebony Unicorn. I have been finding I found a black walnut tree near my house. And so I have been out there picking them and digging into the halls. And if you know, the halls and stuff are filled with tannins, tannins. And they do stain your hands. I don't do this often with gloves. I like to get down in the dirt with it. I've always been like that. It's just something that's healing about that to me. And so don't be alarmed. I still have the tannins on my hand. It still darkens. You can see even my nails are tinted. So yeah, I try to cover it a little bit by putting on some press on so you all wouldn't see it as bad as it look on the other side. But it's only so much I can do with the underside. I mean, I've tried oil washes, I've tried baking soda, I've tried scrubbing, I've tried dial. I mean, I've tried everything and it just doesn't come off. So this is my new normal. So don't be alarmed. I'm not having a health problem. That's just is what it is. Just want to put that out there for any of you being concerned about why my fingers look like that, or if you ask. So we're going to shuffle these cards up and we're going to get into Aaron Pierre, Mr. Aaron Pierre. Aaron Pierre. Actor Aaron Pierre comes to the front of the congregation. Let's get into this. Put those back over. Okay, I'm gonna make note of what flips over in my hand here, but I'm gonna put that there. So we do have, the Hanged Man, we have the Four of Discs, the Queen of Cups, we have the Knight of Swords, and then we also have the Judgment card coming up, and it flipped over here. But I'm gonna mix these in here like so to see what's actually meant to come out. Okay, you see how that landed on my hand there? I'm going to count that. All right. So let's see what we have here for the current energies for Aaron Pierre. So we have the Knight of Wands here. It's coming up in reverse. So to me, that speaks of a slowing down of something. Most likely it's something dealing with like the creative aspect here. I don't know if there's been a slowdown in like his work or something going on, but that immediately is what come into mind for me, the Mirror of Wands. I find it hard to believe because I feel like I've been hearing about him everywhere, but yeah. And then we have the Eight of Discs. Okay, yeah, I think this might be his work. Okay, so we have the Mirror of Wands coming up in reverse here, which is, to me, feels like a slowing down of some kind of creative process or a passion project of some sorts. Then we have the Eight of Disc also coming up in reverse. And to me, this is kind of like reaping the benefits of you putting in your hard work. You know, seven, you've been cultivating and planting those seeds, you've been sowing. And now in the Eight of Disc, you are trying to reap the benefits and like capitalize off of that. But that doesn't seem to be the case here for Aaron Pierre because it's coming up in reverse. To me, I'm also getting a sense of maybe hopelessness as well, and it could be largely because I'm seeing the star here. Um, you know, to me, it's kind of like wishing upon a star, looking for like some kind of sign of something, but it is coming up in reverse. So I'm thinking this is something probably dealing with like his work life, maybe not his personal, but more so his work life here. And then we have the Six of Cups here as well, which is pretty much like going back to the drawing board on something. This could be dealing with childhood. This also could be dealing with something with the past. So I wonder if there's something here where he's having to kind of like revisit the drawing board in order to move forward. What's the other upper top card here? Because with that Six of Cups, yeah, the Five of Wands. What is the struggle here? The Five of Wands coming up in reverse. It shouldn't be a big battle because it's coming up in reverse, but is he kind of like putting too much energy to something from the past than he should at this moment? Is it like draining from him? Because with this Five of Wands coming up reverse, the Six of Cups is like revisiting something, things of the past, childhood. Up, look, the underlying card here is the Judgment. We also have the Knight of Swords. Yeah, to me, this feels like, okay, so what is something that he has been trying to fight for that's probably not quite worth the fight, at least at this point in time? Like maybe he can revisit it, but at this point in time, it feels like it's something he should. So back to this. So to me, it just feels like there's something that he probably should, at this point in time, he should not be revisiting or trying to deal with it, because it's probably like maybe he's missing some kind of vital information. He's missing some kind of person or a connection that he needs, maybe some kind of monetary backing, something like that, that he needs later on down the line or in the future that could help, and he's not quite getting it. It could be the opposite of this, very much of like maybe he's not paying attention to something that he needs to, some kind of passion project that he needs to, and maybe that's why he's having a hard time. But for what I'm getting, first and foremost, following my first mind, is that there's something he's probably pouring too much energy into right now, and he probably should step away from it for a minute. But let's see if I'm correct here. We're going to get some more information. Okay, and this is just doing an initial energy reading for Aaron Pierre. We're just gonna. Okay, I focused on the Mirror of Wands and got this. The Gemini. So communication, something that Mercurian and Aries, kind of like energy. Curious communication, versatile, flexible. Yeah, to me, it feels like there's something that he wants a certain way and it's not coming out in that perfectionist type of way. Okay, you see how that fell for me, so I'm gonna count that card. This is opposition. See, coming up in reverse. This is speaking to, relates, mirrors, interacts, confronts, makes conscious, manifests, disciplines, conflicts with, tests, objectifies, and calls out. Interacts, confronts, makes conscious, manifests. That confronting and manifesting is like the big pop out words for me, but it's opposition. So he's having some kind of trouble making it happen. Okay, that hits the table for the Six of Cups. Chiron, wounded healer. With the Six of Cups, ooh. So it says healing power, healing powers, growth, amends, release, personal development, self-doubt, generational trauma, shame, sensitivity, forgiveness, superpowers, divinity, cleansing, softness, and pain here. Okay. The Virgo did land here, but I was thinking about the Five of Wands. Ooh, the Five of Wands with Virgo. Sorry, Virgos in that Arian, that fire card, they don't seem to resonate to me. Because fires are all about, unless maybe it's a Leo. This is like Leo energy, maybe, but Sagittarians and Aries, in my anecdotal experience, no. Very much bump heads. But it says methodical, aligns, ritualistic, efficient, insightful, healthy, dutiful, discerning, pure, refined, accurate, solitary, curatorial, critical, nervous, perfectionist here. So I don't know if he's the earth sign or a fire sign, but this could be speaking to with this Virgo on top of the Five of Wands. There could be something here where maybe he kind of wants it to be really artistic, gritty, nitty gritty, very raw, and whatever this passion project is, and whoever is the person he's like presenting it to wants it more, wants it in like a package kind of deal. Like, well, who's the audience this is for? These are the steps you need to follow. Who's gonna back it? Um, Show me some kind of market analysis or SWOT analysis for why this will work. Like they probably may want him to do a bit more work for it, where he's like, that that's you're killing the artisticness behind it, and it's going to kill the whole project or something like that. Or maybe it's saying that he needs to be more methodical in the process, and maybe he's having very much of an Aryan approach. Because look, here we go with that Mars action. Or is he trying to be perfectionist about it? Yeah, that Mars action. Do he have some fire sign in him? Is he just like wanting to get it done, and it's like, no, you have to, there's some steps that you need to take here first, sir. Because then Mars makes me think of that. Yeah, because look, impulses, desire, works out, excitement, impatience, anger, potency. We also have moon feelings here as well. This could be also going back to that Six of Cups energy. This is dealing with home, family, conditioning, privacy, emotions, sustenance, self-soothing, moods, motherhood. We also have the numinous, which is the mystery, which is dealing with psychic abilities, tingling, inner knowing, shadow work. Is he having to take on some shadow work here? I don't know what Aaron Pierre has up his sleeve, but it feels like this is a moment of like inner work that he has to do in order to pull out. It kind of feels, well, I want to say, I'm not going to say it feels like, because I don't know what that feels like, but what I'm getting in my head is kind of like method acting. It feels like there's a period of him having to do some like method acting, and I don't know if maybe it's for a certain role that he really wants to take, but maybe he just doesn't. Maybe the execs or whoever is running it at this time is kind of like, maybe you don't kind of fit what we're looking for. Like maybe you need to get more into the person's head, and he's probably struggling with that a little bit, at least from their perspective. It feels something along those lines. I'm just trying to, again, intuitively interpreting here with what it is that I'm picking up on in this energy. Okay. I'm going to read these in a second, but this is the card where I actually was focusing in. Okay, we have, oh, maybe it is something dealing with his personal life. Oftentimes our personal life do influence our work life, our passions and things like that. Any artistic person can tell you that. So look, the pragmatist, that's that earth energy again. That's that earth energy again. Pragmatist, that queen of coins, queen of earth here. Very much wanting to approach things in a very methodical, analytical kind of way. And it's like, yes, there's a point of that when it comes to acting, but it should also be very much artistic. And I wonder, is that the thing that is that why him and Teyana probably hooked up? There's a bit of artistic expressions he's been wanting to make, that he probably couldn't do in his acting career, or like maybe his managers and them would allow him to do. So he kind of had to find another avenue to tap into that creative energy that he has, that well pool here. Again, with the home card here, and then like that Six of Cups, we also did have the Chiron card, and what was the other one that we had that was underlying here? The Moon. I wonder if there is something going on at home that's probably like influencing his creative, his work life. And then we also have travel here. So this could be speaking to, you know, actual travel. You know, he is an actor. He could be trying to travel for work, or he needs to travel for work, and maybe it's just not happening as fast or right now the way he wants it to. Also with the Six of Wands, if this was translated over into the Six of Wands, I think that is also false victories. If we're translating it over into tarot, the other card that fell out when I wasn't concentrating was the Nine of Swords here, which is the worries, and that is dealing with like nightmarish things, things that are on your mind that you quite haven't pieced out. You kind of haven't worked out in some type of way. We also do have the guide here, which is the King of Cups, aka King of Hearts. We have the Ten of Wands here, dealing with social engagements, aka Ten of Clubs. And then we also have the Four of Clubs, aka the Four of Wands, dealing with kind of planning. Yeah, what connections is he trying to have to make? Remember, I was saying something about that earlier. Like, there's some project or something that he's trying to do, or maybe there's been a slowdown in his project, and that's because he hasn't made the right connections or something like that just quite yet. And he needs to make those things. But there's some kind of like mental block, I feel like that's happening. So yeah, that's just tapping into his energy. But let's see. I know this is I kind of want to get into his mindset here, but let's see what we get for him and Teyana's relationship, because I know that's the big one people want to see. And then we'll look at his career lastly. Ooh, okay. Let's see what we get here. That was a lot. We have the Fool, the Four of Swords, and the Seven of Fists here. Okay, before I even have a card that dropped, I wonder if there's somebody in Aaron Pierre's camp or team that doesn't want him with Teyana Taylor. Like, do they feel like she's a bad look for him or something? I kind of feel like there's something that's coming through, but let's see. Ooh, okay. I'm getting so many cards for him. I'm gonna count this one though because they came up upright, but we are gonna note these. Not that one, these. So we have the High Priestess here for Aaron Pierre. We also had the Chariot fall out with him, the Emperor, ooh, the Eight of Cups, and the Ten of Cups. Mm. Okay, Teyana Taylor's energy. We have the Two of Wands. Okay. What is the energy between the two? Okay, the energy between the two. That Mirror of Wands again. Or the Knight of Wands. Some feels like they're not on the same page about something. Some don't seem to line up here. Okay, we have the star for the underlying card. Look, Four of Wands and then the Three of Discs. This makes me feel like what I was getting earlier. Somebody on, I feel like Aaron Pierre's team. I could be wrong, could be Teyana Taylor's team. But I'm gonna go with my first instinct here and say that it's Aaron Pierre's team with a Three of Discs coming up in reverse, because that's usually dealing with cooperation. I think of contracts, cooperation, those kind of things. Working together here. The Four of Wands coming up in reverse is usually dealing with home life, personal, family. Sometimes this also is interpreted as like the marriage card or the marriage bed card. And then we have the star here coming up in upright. Why does it feel like it started off good and then something changed here? And what I intuitively feel like it is, I kind of feel like maybe there's something here in regards to maybe Teyana using this as like a fast and loose relationship, and that's not, they're not on the same page about that or something. At least now they aren't. They probably were at the beginning, but now they aren't. Because the Two of Wands is like, I'm making the decision, I'm planning, plotting. I don't want to say plotting because it makes it sound nefarious, but it's like I'm planning, I'm thinking, I'm looking at all of my options here, and then it's facing the Knight of Wands here, which is kind of like being very passionate, moving on, doing this and doing that. It's kind of like, it feels like I kind of got out of this what I needed, and now it's kind of just like, okay, what's the exit strategy now? And then he's coming up as the High Priestess here, and this is like, being in tune with your feelings. This could be divine feminine energy. Also notice that she's looking off to the side. Maybe it's something that you're ignoring here. This is kind of giving me, I'm not gonna lie to you, hello Pisces, Cancers. It's giving me that energy. I don't know what his sign is. I don't know what Teyana Taylor's sign is, but this is kind of giving me that I'm gonna be oblivious because I like the happiness or the feelings that this person make me feel, whether I'm deluding myself into believing it or not. Something here just doesn't quite add up. But let's see if I can get some more. Or maybe it's a thing of like, maybe they both realize that this isn't what they want, but for whatever reason, they're still working it out. Okay, look. See, Uranus, revolution, breakthroughs, breakthroughs, brainstorming is what I wanted to say. Humanitarianism, innovation, surprise, freedom, experimentation, the unexpected, rupture, edge, lightning. Has she been serving as like a creative outlet for him and vice versa? I'm not counting that because I just wasn't concentrating. So, ooh, and Teyana's card flew off to the floor. Okay, so finally got her card. The fourth house, dealing with roots, family, home, background, comfort, cooking, inner world, real estate, self care. Okay, if I can so be inclined and not, hopefully not overstepping here, I think this was mutually beneficial to both of them. I think because her home life could be her romantic or bedroom life. After, her divorce was, she felt like it needed a little bit of shaking up, and she got it shooken up, upon meeting Aaron Pierre. Um, and he kind of, helped her work through some things. And I think vice versa, she helped him work through some things. Again, going back to what I was getting with the energy reading, I feel like artistically there are a lot of things that Aaron Pierre would do. Like, I could see him very much being somebody, I'm thinking like, um, he will be listening to like some old opera or like Bach, um some, whatever, what do you call a symphony kind of like music going on in the background while he paints, or while he's writing like a song or something. Like very old school artistic kind of energy is what I'm getting from him. And I feel like she was an outlet for him in order to exercise some of that, the, I guess, more musically or visually creative side of himself outside of the physical, because I think acting is more of the physical artistic side, whereas the, if he was drawing or something like that, would be more of like the visual, and the music would be more of like the audio, if is how I'm trying to explain it. And so it kind of feels like she's been helping him with like meshing all of those worlds together, and it's been delightful so far. And it worked for them. But now it kind of feels like, damn, did they hit the end of their road? Because they, I hate to say it this way, but like they used each other what they needed to use each other for. Sometimes people are there for a reason, sometimes people are there for a season, sometimes people are there forever. So that's more so what it feels like here. I don't feel like it's like a, oh, I hate you kind of energy. I think it's very much a lot of appreciation, thanks, hi, bye, whatever. But I kind of feel like they've served the purpose. The relationship has served its purpose. And that's probably why the Knight of Wands is coming up here in reverse. Because the passion isn't there anymore. And the passion, I say passion because that can go multiple different ways, whether it's, physical attraction, it's lust, if it's something dealing with, again, their creativity, all of that. So I use passion very loosely here. Okay, we have two cards here. Didn't I say something about Pisces earlier? Baby, when I tell you I be picking up on Piscean energy, it be always coming through strong. Pisces, Mars and Pisces. Hello, Pisces and Mars. Mm, the astronomy girlies get it. Okay. But the Pisces says imaginative, compassionate, healing, empathetic, mystical, adoring, dreamy, ephemeral, spiritual, emotional, escapist, impractical, self pitying, illogical. Do I need to say more? And then we have Mars here. Again, this is dealing with that heat, the strength, the leadership, engine, potency, willpower, motor, sex drive. I think, yeah. Do they hit it off in bed? Is the itch being scratched? Absolutely. But I think when it comes to outside of that, I think the passion was met. It's combusted now. We do have 10th house reputation. We also have Capricorn boss. And then we have 11th house, which is dealing with the edge. It's like, okay, and notice that it's two people here. I don't know if you can, let me hold that up a little closer for you all. You can see two figures down in here. Hopefully you all can discern that, see that there. But it just kind of feels like, okay, now where do we go from here? I think maybe it kind of feels like now we're renegotiating some things here. Like what's going to be the new terms moving forward. 10th house again, reputation. I get this all the time, oftentimes when I do celebrity readings. It doesn't surprise me that comes up here. I think I also get is that third house? I think that's third house also that deals with something with like Hollywood too. Hold on, wait, I gotta dig back in the deck. Yep, third house perception. So yeah, it's the 10th house, third house. I usually get those oftentimes when I'm doing celebrity readings. And to me, it points to a lot of stuff that they have to deal with. The 10th house is dealing with career, responsibilities, achievement, fame, notoriety, standing out, authority figures. This all makes sense why this will be coming up in the upright for them, because right now they have been Their relationship has served its purpose, and like making sure that, you know, because one of the things I have to mention it, one of the things on Aaron Pierre's end of the thing is that a lot of people have been saying like he was about to suffer, his reputation, his trajectory in Hollywood was about to suffer because he's only been associated with dating white women. Um, which I don't know how that would really hurt him, if you ask me honestly, because I feel like don't everybody aspire to that. Don't play in our faces, but I digress. Let me get off my soapbox. And you know, with Teyana Taylor, she kind of have been pushed. It kind of seemingly looked like she had been pushed into obscurity in a negative light because of her divorce and some of the things that was coming out about, you know, her being a bad person or being, as I'm saying this loosely, this is all alleged because I don't really believe all of it. You know, it takes two to tango and it takes two to break it down. But you know, a lot of stuff was coming out negative about her relationship with Iman Shumpert. So I think the relationship has did what it had to do for their brands and for their perception, and just kind of like washed it and cleared it up for them. So I'm not surprised the 10th house shows up here. And with the Capricorn coming out as well, career wise, it just seems like, yeah, we had to do this wash, this brand wash, this cleaning, a little PR washing, green washing, whatever you want to call it, to kind of like change the tides here, the perception of what the public had of us. And again, the Capricorn, I always think of work, I always think of business, just being, you know, really capable. But you know, that on here, or yeah, corporate matters. On here, it's dealing with seriousness, authoritative, corporate, wise, enduring, accomplished, majestic, prepared, down to earth, structured, traditional. It's like very old school, very rigid. I hate to say it for you sometimes, Capricorns. But then we also have the 11th house, which keep in mind this did come up in reverse. This is dealing with friendship, group creativity, community, humanity, hope, tribe, festival, discovery, common goals, startups, rebellion, experimentation in the future. It feels like very much, where do we go now from here? Like, did we exhaust this to the point of utilizing it for all we could have? And let's see. So we have solution here. I'm going to leave that to the side. Focus more on their energy. Ooh, the way that flew. I don't know if the camera caught that really well, but okay, look. Loss, misfortune, relationship. See, this misfortune with the Uranus card being here as well makes me feel like something explosive is coming. If it hasn't already happened in their relationship, maybe we haven't seen it. Misfortune and loss here. Ooh. Relationship. Your relationship is going to encounter some misfortune or loss if you was to read it just straight like that. Also, if I was to translate this into tarot, the Seven of Hearts loosely translate into Seven of Cups here. It's kind of like you, I want to say the Seven of Cups is, um, do you want this or do you want that? Are you focusing on, do you want money? Do you want power? Do you want fame? Do you want community? Do you want a relationship? It's kind of like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What are you reaching for? You can't have all of it, but maybe you can get two or three things. You need to focus on what you want and move from there. We have the misfortune card, which is a 10 of spades here, which loosely translates into the 10 of knives or the 10 of swords. That's like brutal ending. That's not something you want. It's translated very well here in this card with the misfortunes. Horrible ending, cataclysmic. And then you have the 5 of hearts here, loosely translated. Hear the words I'm saying, loosely translated to like the 5 of cups. The 5 of cups is dealing with loss. It's the spilled milk card. Is you're focusing on the little spilled milk, that, you know, the little milk that spilled out, and you're not noticing that you have a whole gallon over here that you need to pour into a pitcher before, you know, the little crack in the gallon pours all over the place. You're focusing on the wrong thing. You're being pessimistic and negative Nancy. That's the energy that's coming up here with their if this is all based on their relationship. Again, that worries card is coming up again. Nine of Knives. If you was to loosely translate the Nine of Spades into the tarot, you also have the Protector, King of Diamonds, aka King of Disc. And then you have the support card, which is the Eight of Diamonds, coming up in reverse. And this is usually you kind of like, the Eight of Diamonds is kind of like, you are, again, you're trying to reap from everything that you have sown in the Seven of Diamonds or the Seven of Discs. You know, you put in your work and everything with the support. Now you're trying to kind of like spread out that wealth and enjoy what you have put the hard work into. So, do she feel like she put a lot of work into him? Does it feel unequally yoked? Is that the case? I don't know. That's an alleged thing that I'm picking up here. That's an intuitive thing that I may be picking up here. But I wonder, does she feel like she's put more into it than he has? I don't know. To me, this is not debatable. She's definitely the bigger celebrity in this. I know people want him to be the bigger celebrity, but Teyana has been around since she was Sweet 16, maybe a little even earlier than that. Sweet 16, she was kind of like one of the big ones that kicked off stuff, okay? When Sweet 16 was a show on, what was that? Was that VH1 MTV? And the girl has been popping ever since. And again, like I said at the top of this, multi-talented, okay? It's not even arguably, she is the bigger artist in this, or celebrity in this. So don't start. I just had to put my finger up it. Aaron Pierre, I feel like he can get there. He has what it takes to get there. I would even concede maybe a little bit right now that maybe he's the bigger celebrity than her at this point in time, which I can't even say that because she just came out with a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio that I hear is trash. Don't at me at that. But yeah, I haven't seen it yet, so I can't give you my own opinion of it. But I hear some people say it was pretty traumatic. But neither here nor there. I've heard a couple people say that, but I hear it's been getting glowing reviews. I don't know. Okay, let's see what's coming up in the future here for Aaron Pierre. Now that we did the relationship reading, we're going to finish it off here and see what's coming up in the future for Aaron Pierre's career. What's coming up in the future here with Aaron Pierre's career? Because there does feel to be like there's some kind of blockage or some kind of, well, I want to say inertia. I don't know why that came up, but like some kind of slowdown when it comes to his career. Aaron Pierre, what's the future? Aaron Pierre's. Oh. I'm gonna leave that just like that. Okay, so I have these, but this is a book, so I'm not gonna count that. But this did flip over. These are sticking out to the side like that, and usually that's letting me know to pick them. But this is a whole book. Maybe I should just mention it, but okay. So I'm getting a lot here for the future of his career. So maybe I should put that over it. The Devil over the High Priestess. That feels about right to me. Because usually, I'm going to explain it to you all in a second, just in case you are not a tarot reader. And you want to understand the motive behind me doing that. Okay. Okay. So typically in tarot, there's a very popular tarot spread we do. It's called the Celtic Cross, I think. I believe so. And oftentimes it say like, hey, if you have an issue or a problem that's coming up, you put the cross card on top. That lets you know that that's kind of like the blockage. And to me, it felt, that's what I was picturing in my head when this kind of fell out. Like, maybe I should put this on top and move it over. So we have the Jinn, aka the Devil card here, on top of the High Priestess. So again, this is tapping into your intuition, trust. To me, what are you not trusting yourself on? What is kind of like the thing that you need to yeah, you need to tap into intuitively that you're not. With the devil being the blockage here, so this could, I have to point that out there, not spreading any rumors. This is all alleged. The devil sometimes can speak to like addictions. It can speak to things of like what's that, like self-sabotage, going back to the things that not necessarily the thing that's best for you or that's good for you. It can speak to kind of like being bondage, some blockage. It can speak to nefarious actions, etc. We do also have the Lovers card here. So to me, this is kind of like, what are you out of alignment about? Because the Lovers doesn't always have to deal with romantic relationships. Oftentimes when I see the Lovers, it's kind of like getting into alignment. What are you not in tune with? Okay, in the words of Ice Spice, what are you getting it moved into tune? Okay, I can't do a New Yorker accent. So yeah, it just kind of feels like you need to get in tune here. And then we have the Ace of Wands coming up in reverse. That Ace of Wands and this devil. Sexy, sexy. Look, Aaron, if it is to keep it PC, if it is the itch, okay? Because I'm sure a lot of us straight females, listen, you ain't gotta worry about that. You got the looks. I don't know about the personality, but the looks, nobody is going to turn you away. Like, unless they're a very unique, independent person, or they're, let me not say it that way. Unless they're a person that's kind of like, really demisexual, like, no, or sapiosexual. Like, I really need to get to know you. I need to really feel you in order to, get to that moment, that combustion. But if it's somebody that's like just a creature of physicality, you're not gonna have a problem here, sir. That's what the problem is. But yeah. Then we have the Six of Cups coming up again here. These are the cards that fell out earlier. Yeah, with the Hanged Man here, or the ascetic. What are you not seeing? What are you not paying? This a mirror. This Knight of Wands keep coming up. This man is blocked creatively in some sense. Something passion creative wise is just blocked for him. He's like, and it's something dealing with the past that he need, or a past connection or something from childhood that he needs to kind of like work through. Maybe that's why this is coming up here. There's something like he needs to work through. Is there like some kind of mommy issue that he works out sexually? Like, are you a Christian Grey? Hmm, Read between the lines. What's going on here, sir? What is it? Allegedly. 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 Or is that, because this is dealing with his career? Is that like a role that they want him to play? Do they want him to kind of like lean into the what they call it, the Hollywood heartthrob, and is he wanting to take a different route because maybe he doesn't feel in tune with that? You know how you see people and you're like, he is traditionally like pretty, like there's no arguing that, like stop saying that, but he doesn't resonate with that. He doesn't see himself in that light, or maybe he is struggling with like, okay, and so I remember Denzel Washington kind of struggled with this too. If I lock myself into being kind of like the Hollywood heartthrob, is that gonna knock off points of me being taken serious in Hollywood? Because again, I know Denzel Washington struggled with that. I don't know about Idris Elba too much. I don't know too much about his background, but I know Denzel Washington struggled with that early on in his career. You know, I would say even women as young as 25 will still say Denzel Washington can get it any day of the week. But when he first came out, most people would say he was like the ideal, the pinnacle person in their head, when they would be like, oh, that is a man. That is a man. And I wonder if he is also just kind of like in that sense of like, I don't want to be locked into just being like the Hollywood heartthrob. I don't want to just be locked into their role, typecasted. Yes. I don't want to be typecasted. Is that I want to be taken serious. So I wonder if that's something that's coming up here. Oops, oops, oops. Okay. I have three cards fly off to the side that I'm gonna know, and then I'm gonna mix this again. Look, six of house, craft. This is dealing with his craft, his work, his artistry. Ooh, the way this is flying all over the place. Right. Work details, health, well-being, diet, service, daily rituals, skills, apprenticeship, method. Remember I was talking something about method acting. We also have the Scorpio. All of these is coming up in reverse, mind you. And when I think of Scorpio, I very much think of sensuality. Yeah. Passion, secretive, carnal, obsessive, deep, eternal, resourceful, mysterious, regenerative. Okay. And here's something else I'm about to say too. Um Can I'm gonna see if this is gonna pass YouTube measures. I think Aaron Pierre. I don't know why I want to imitate a Russian accent. I think Aaron Pierre. I'm not gonna say decent. Mm, again, how can I say? I think he's somebody who he's not gonna fail to get you there to completion, combustion. I want to say it that way. Um, but I think he very much wants to keep that separate from like how he is portrayed on screen. Do that make sense? Like, okay, I know I'm this in my personal life, but I don't want that to be like my whole brand and identity in front of the screen. Even though I know that's kind of like how people see me, I want to be taken as a serious actor when it comes to my craft. I feel like that's something that's coming up here. We also see encourages, sees the potential, gives hope to, compensates, responds, cycles, grows, realizes. Here with the semi-sextile, but let's see. Yeah, North Node here. It feels like he's at a crossroad, and this did come up in reverse, but I'm turning it up right so I can read it. This is dealing with learning curve, fulfillment, purpose, maturing, experience, fruition, process, development, practice, path, becoming, integrity, blossoming, and it is coming up in reverse. So it kind of feels like he's at some kind of crossroads, some decision making point here. Like, do I give in to the baser nature of things and just lean on the whole sex appeal, or do I stick to the course? You know what, that Pocahontas song, okay, my 90s babies, early 2000 babies even. You know that part in the movie, because I don't remember all the words for the dang song, and I know my sister would throw a shoe at me. Um, is where she's like, do I follow the rapid rivers or something, or do I stay the calming waters? Like, should I marry Kocoum, or should I jump with what was his name? John. Look, I don't what these ones. I know it was between choosing between Kocoum and John Smith, and that's what's coming up to mind for me right now. It's kind of like the Jinn is John Smith with the rapid rivers and everything, and the Sybil or the High Priestess is kind of like Kocoum, choosing the smooth path. The song is playing in my head, and I can't remember the words, so I'm not gonna sing it. And plus, I don't want to be demonetized because Disney is playing lately. So that's the song, the picture from the movie that's popping up in my head. It's like, do I stay the steady course, or do I pick my own? Do I stay my route here? Okay, this wants to flip over. Cancer doula here. And again, that's dealing with maternal femininity. So I wonder, is he having a problem being like a female, what they call it, the female gaze, the sensuality, the sexiness here. Like, maybe his team is telling him to lean into that, and he's like, no, that's really gonna limit my potential. I feel like maybe, is that what it is? Um Introverted do show up on here as well, so that could be another thing. Maybe he's very traditional, maybe is the word to say. And not saying that's a bad thing at all, but And then look, that Mars is coming up again. On top of the Ace of Wands. The Mars coming up in reverse with the Ace of Wands. Come on. I think he is having a moment here when it comes to the sensuality part of things. Look, and then we have the Leo. This is dealing with being expressive, guileless, egotistical, juicy, trusting, bedazzling, extroverted, overt. Yeah, maybe they want him to be a bit more loose, and that's not him naturally. And it's like, yes, I can be an actor. I can do that when I'm playing a role, but just like even when I'm doing interviews and stuff, you want me to play a role. Maybe he's like not comfortable with that. He's like very to himself. Again, very traditional or like conservative, some people would probably say in a sense. He also has a sextile opportunity for the underlying energies here, which is dealing with collaborates, assists, explains, opportunity, opens doors, promises, communicates, welcomes, develops. And then Uranus as well, which is again that breakthrough, that freedom of experimentation. There's very much seems like there's another route that he wants to go, and maybe his team, his management is like, no, we want you to do this. This is tried and true. And I think it is something to be said in trusting your instinct on things, because sometimes these larger corporations, you know, even though you would think they have an incentive to see you succeed, they can find another you anytime, any day of the week, and they can also make it very easy to replace you as well. Even though it was their plan to go forward with this branding, and you follow suit thinking that they knew what they were doing, and they was like, oh well, we move on to the next one, just very much treating you like numbers. So I think there's something to be said about that. So I would say, if Aaron Pierre is watching this, if you need that little word of encouragement when it comes to your career, I say stay true to your guns, stay true to, um, trust your gut, your intuition here. Don't give into don't give into everything the companies are saying. Think very long term, because they don't always work in your best to your best benefit. It's not always to, your benefit here. If there is something here where you're kind of struggling on whether I should lean into, just being the sex symbol, or, being this serious actor, I say go the serious actor route. They can always find somebody that just is good. It's hard to find somebody who is actually about their craft and they're good looking. I'm looking at you, Sydney, sweet. Sorry, not sorry, I said that. You know who else I'm also thinking of? You remember when, maybe some of you remember this. I'm thinking of what is her name? Jennifer Lawrence. I think that was Jennifer Lawrence when she kind of first was hitting the scene. Um, you know how they was really trying to pigeonhole her into kind of just being like a sex symbol, and I feel like she walked the line pretty well, or decently, when it came to just like being the quirky girl next door who was like the sex symbol, who was also a serious actor, who was about her okay, like I feel like Aaron Pierre is at this moment in his career where he has to kind of like to learn how to be the Jennifer Lawrence of it all, or the Scarlett Johansson. I don't know about any other male actors that kind of had to deal with that in a big way, but I just think of like with the female um actresses, how they oftentimes brush up against that, where they kind of just want you to be arm candy, and you have to walk that fine line of being the serious actor who is still very much themselves while still being taken serious in your career. I feel like even Halle Berry, again going back to Denzel Washington. I don't want to be pigeonholed or typecast as this one thing. I want to be taken serious as an actor. Yes, I'm beautiful, but I don't want that to be my everything. And I still want to be my quirky, true self when I'm shining through in interviews. Like, I want people to see me as a person. I think that's the struggle that's coming up here with his career. See, look, the protector again. So is he an earth sign? I'm going to look that up. Look, and then the thinker. Like externally, yeah, he gives masculine all day, but internally he kind of does give that feminine energy. Like he very much taps into his divine feminine. We have the official things here. We have the gift, and then we also have the leader here. See, like I feel like a lot of his internal cards are like very feminine, but the external him is masculine, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Learn how to balance that divine feminine and masculine for sure. Um, yeah, little luck, the thinker. So again, typically when I get the court cards, it doesn't always have to be a person. If we were talking about people here, this will be air and earth signs. So think, earth signs, it will be your Capricorns, your Virgos, your Taurus. If you're thinking about air signs, it will be your Aquarius, your Libras, and your Geminis. But you know, it doesn't have to be there. They can sometimes deal with like certain situations that's going on, or it can stand for like places, person, places, or things. I think of the core cards as nouns. I often say that. So it could be like certain situations and things that he's dealing with. Of he's like, yeah, I want to be the materialistic person, but I also want to think long term. I want to be intentional about this and not just doing stuff or just doing it for the hell of it, just for the short term gain. I want to think long term here. And I think again with this coming up in the upright, it feels like that's the way to go. It feels like that's the way to go. Probably, yes, things are going to be hard. Things are probably not always going to come easy, but at least you will be true to who you are. You will have the true intentions there. So yeah, that's what I'm getting this coming up for Aaron Pierre's reading. Let me know what you all think down in the comment section. Let me know if there's something additional that I should add to this that you all had a question about. But just kind of getting to the energy reading, what's coming up for his future career and his current relationship with Teyana Taylor, I figure was the bigger pieces here that people really wanted to know. And yeah, I delivered on those. So let me know what you all think, and if there's something that I mentioned here that you can expand upon, we can talk about it down in the comment section below. And if there is something else you would also like to suggest me to do a reading on, make sure to always leave those in the comments. If there is nothing you would like to comment on, leave a like or leave an emoji down in the comment section to help with that algorithm. Subscribe and make sure to hit that notification bell, setting it to all so you can see the next time I upload. And with that, I thank you all for being here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.